Now, in the conversation between Mencius and King Hui of Liang, Mencius said to the king that for the common people, having a social safety net is the precondition of acting as a good citizen. Well, indeed, there are many, great individuals who are able to maintain a fixed mind or a calm mind without the certainty of livelihood. They don't need that. People such as Shakyamuni Buddha, Jesus, Mohandas Gandhi, Confucius, Mencius, Muhammad, all the great teachers for us. But for the common people, without a fixed mind, there is hardly anything that the people will not do in the way of self-abandonment and of moral deflection and of depravity. Substantial research suggests that countries with more robust social safety net experience far lower crime rate, less divorce, and less child abuse. Mencius also said to the king that with sufficiency in basic need, people will be able to serve their parents, support their wives and children. In the good years, they would be abundantly satisfied, and in the bad years, they would escape the danger of perishing. So this can be clearly demonstrated by the following diagram. And as we said, with sufficient basic need, they can support the family, and they can maintain stable economic life throughout different business cycles, and therefore they are willing to do good, and social order can be maintained. But on the contrary, there is insufficient basic need, and then there is unstable mind, and they will self-abandon, and there is nothing that people will not do. Now, this process is not to be taken lightly. If a ruler doesn't keep in mind of the importance of the need of the people when, making distribution policy, and simply punish those involved in crime by law without considering the origin of the problem, we simply cannot call him a benevolent ruler. This is called entrapping the people. I mean, of course, we certainly value the cultivation of propriety and righteousness. But what leisure do people have to cultivate if they're unable to feel safe and maintain a certain livelihood, if they cannot live? And it simply means that we're asking for too much. So this is why Confucius said to his student, when governing a state, the ruler must first enrich the people economically and then educate the people. But I guess, ultimately, the distribution method should be designed with a purpose to make a man a good citizen. Okay? And if basic physical need is the foundation of being a good person, then this should also drive the methodology of distribution. Confucius and his fellow scholars, they worry about the equality of the wealth much more than the level of wealth itself. They were, not troubled with the fears of poverty, but were troubled with the fears of a lacking of peace among the people themselves. They worry about how you cut the pie rather than the size of the pie, at least more than the size of the pie. So the great economic principles can be found in many parts of the teaching of traditional Chinese philosophy, and for many dynasties in the Chinese history, all the great kings and rulers understood that when the people have equality of wealth, there will be no poverty. And when harmony prevails, there will be no scarcity of the people. And when there is social peace among the people, there will be no fall of the state. So this concludes this lecture. Thank you.